Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the aspects of the Brexit deal that mean it cannot last in its current form for very long and will certainly have to be included in the debate for the next general election. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So a bit of a contrast between the Brexit deal we have now, the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement, and the withdrawal agreement that we arranged last year. The withdrawal agreement was always understood by all parties to be a preamble to a larger deal, a more permanent relationship with the EU. That was understood, nobody denied that. Now we've got something that is being billed in some quarters as this is it, this is our final relationship with the EU. But in reality, that's not what the agreement says. And there are certain realities of the agreement that mean that that can't be the case as well. So, this Brexit deal. Much better than no deal, of course. Doesn't even come close to achieving what Brexit promised to deliver either. I mean, in many regards, people will not recognise these failings. You know, even when a problem directly hurts people, the general public often do not see the link. You know, after all, bear in mind, a year ago, the country voted in a form of government that had already brought the NHS to its knees, implemented a damaging and unnecessary austerity programme for no benefit to the UK economy at all. And this has cost people their jobs and their health. And even those who retained jobs had their wages suppressed by these policies. They were largely unaware. They didn't connect the dots. If the general public remain largely unaware of the real consequences of Brexit, then the government may indeed get to carry on banging about sovereignty and proclaim victory over the EU. That is a serious threat. However, there are things that are so obviously wrong with Brexit that they will have to be tackled. And I don't see that being dealt with in this Parliament, although there may have to be some discussions, some debates. But it is likely to be a key battleground in the next general election in 2024. So for all the people wasting valuable energy on different parties' approach to voting on the deal this week, whether it's for, against, abstaining, the next general election is not going to be about this deal. It may be about Brexit. I think it still will be about Brexit. It'll be about the new one, the one that we didn't know was coming, that covers the obvious gaps in this one. That's where the two sides will seek to control the high ground. So what are the areas that have to be addressed for the next general election? So first of all, you've got the services sector. So we've already heard plenty about how our trade in services is worth 4 times as much as our trade in goods. And yet this agreement covers trade in goods. That is not very helpful for the vast majority of our economy. It's not that it doesn't mention services sector. It's just there's not a lot there and it's quite weak and it doesn't really offer us any protections. That is simply not sustainable. We're not going to suddenly become a global leader in manufacturing. You'll get some people go, don't worry, Phil, we'll just drop all our services and we'll just go into manufacturing. We'll make things the rest of the world wants. That'll be the solution. Yeah, we're not suddenly overnight going to become a great manufacturing hub producing 5 times as many goods that the world is desperate to buy. You know, so it's services. It's what we're pretty good at. We're actually very good at that. Competitive. You know, we have a few niches in manufacturing, certainly, but we will continue to see growth in offering services. We have the skills for that. So not having a deal with the EU for this important, what is currently 80% of our economy, is going to cause real harm. It will make it more difficult to recruit the top people. It will make it more difficult to sell our services. It will result in so much economic disruption and income instability that it cannot be hidden, even by COVID. The second issue is to do with goods, and that is friction with our EU borders. So outside of the customs union and completely unprepared after 4 years, we are about to see some major problems trading with Europe. We actually did see them when France closed down for a couple of days. We did have a little taste of it, didn't we? And it will get better, we'll be told. Sure, of course it will. Of course it will get better. I have no doubt about that. How quickly it will get better is another matter. But it will never be as seamless as it was, because the purpose of a customs union is to improve, you know, trade at the border. Come the next general election, Trading will still be very difficult, even if the systems are better by then, even if they're implemented. It'll still be difficult, it'll still be expensive, and the visible impact around our ports will still be documented. The before and after Brexit photos of freight transport will be everywhere. And the third issue, and this is a big one, and it's both economic and political in nature, is Northern Ireland. So as a result of the withdrawal agreement, Northern Ireland is going to remain aligned with the EU, remains in the EU's customs union. Lucky old Northern Ireland. Although it's still going to be damaging for Northern Ireland, because the consequence of this is friction in trade between Britain and Northern Ireland. This isn't just damaging to lots of UK businesses on either side of that internal customs border, but it's also an affront to the flag-shagging Brexiteers. So Remainers warned about this for years, were completely dismissed. Brexiteers simply wouldn't accept that Brexit would mean the UK operated in a single market smaller than the UK itself. But that is exactly what is happening in a couple of days. Now, Brexiteers can sometimes be an unpredictable bunch, and most of the ones outside of Ireland don't really spend a lot of time thinking about Ireland. But the issue will be huge, because it'll be all over the media on a regular basis, and it will surely stick in their craw. The practical upshot of Boris Johnson's implementation of Brexit is that Northern Ireland will be following EU rules. Okay. The Republic of Ireland will have a seat at the table where those rules are decided, but the UK will not. Northern Ireland gets no say in some of the rules being imposed on it, has no representation. For Unionists, the idea that the Irish government will get to decide on rules that are imposed on Northern Ireland will be too much to bear. The impact of Brexit on Northern Ireland will be huge in terms of both economic and political effects. If the UK is not able to have a say in some aspects of legislation affecting Northern Ireland, in what sense have they taken back control? It will be blindingly obvious that Brexit has actually ceded control. And the thing is that the more this Brexit government try to use their Brexity freedoms, we can use all these stuff now, we can diverge our standards and laws. The more they do that, the more obvious they make that loss of control appear. The only way to limit how obviously they'll have lost control over Northern Ireland is not to change too many EU rules. But they won't be able to help themselves. And even if they do that, that still will not stop that friction in terms of trade. So, and I know this, what you'll end up with, of course, is alignment of Northern Ireland much more towards the Republic and much more away from Britain. And yes, that can hasten reunification, but that's not going to happen overnight or even before the next general election. And for each year that passes, the obvious deficiencies in the Brexit deal on both of these counts, you know, or all three of these counts rather, trade in services, friction with EU border, as well as friction with Northern Ireland and the political situation in Northern Ireland, will just become increasingly obvious. All of these things will be gaping holes in Brexit that can be understood by the general public. They're not small technical issues, they're clear issues, you know, even to Brexit supporters. So as we approach 2024, both Brexit deals, the withdrawal agreement, which contains the Northern Ireland Protocol, and the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, which is heading towards Parliament tomorrow, will need to be revisited. And I had wondered what 2024 would be all about in the general election. You know, reviewing Brexit would clearly be part of it, but it seems to me that we'll actually there'll be talk of Brexit negotiations in the 2024 general election manifesto. All these people that thought voting Conservative last year was getting Brexit done, so they didn't have to hear about it again or have arguments with their friends and relatives. That was the genius of the Conservatives campaign last year. They got people so sick and tired. They got them convinced that it was just going to drag on and on and on for years. Of course it wasn't. If people hadn't voted the Conservatives in, then actually Brexit would have been done by now, because everyone else had agreed to have another referendum, would have been done by now. It's going to be done this year. Would have voted to remain, job done. But no, the Conservatives beat them down, had people so weary they just went, I just want it over. The Conservatives are promising it'll be over. And the Conservatives were a lot better at getting that message across than the other parties who were genuinely offering to have it over and done with. But there it is. You know, I'm sure they didn't see this one coming. At the next general election, we'll all be talking about Brexit negotiations and what's the next stage of the Brexit negotiations and what's the deal that's going to be there to cover up all these gaps, because that's what it's going to be about. The Conservatives at the moment, I would think, would presume would be quite pleased in a way. You know, oh, we've loved talking about Brexit. It's done us so well. We'd like to talk about Brexit in the next general election as well. Just as they're quite good at trashing the economy and then convincing people that Labour will only make it worse if they voted in. Oh yeah, I know we've messed the economy up. You don't want to let Labour in though. Oh God, you think it's bad with us? You should see what it's like with them. We have seen what it's like with them. The economy did rather well, thank you. Never mind. You know, I'm sure they'll be attempting to use the same line on Brexit. Yes, yeah, we know, yeah, Brexit was our idea. Yeah, it's been a complete mess, hasn't it? Yeah, it was our deal. But we're the only ones who can deal with it. We are the only ones who can clear up this mess. Vote for us and we'll clear it all up. In a year's time, you won't even know it's there. It'll be brilliant. And if we fall for it, we'll be having exactly the same conversation in 2029. Yeah, Brexit's still a mess, isn't it? But we're the only ones who can deal with it. They will just keep doing it until people wise up, quite frankly. But if we don't fall for it, if people aren't fooled in great enough numbers at any rate about a fantasy future that never arrives, that was promised years ago, then it may well be the general election where the Conservatives would like to avoid the topic of Brexit altogether. That will be the task for the opposition. That is actually the job of the opposition. Shift Brexit from a topic that the Conservatives love talking about, because they love talking about it at the moment, to one that they are embarrassed to discuss. Because you notice Conservatives now talking about moving on from Brexit. We want to move on from Brexit. Yeah, I want them to keep saying that. We won't let them. We won't let them move on from Brexit. But I like the fact that they want to. We need to keep them wanting to move on from Brexit. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.